Do you dream about your next trip? You're in the right place. On the Time to Talk Travel podcast, we come to you weekly to share places to go and what to do when you get there. Let's dive into this week's adventure.
Welcome back to another episode of Time to Talk Travel. Today we're going to be talking about summer travel. How do you get ready for it? Things you might forget to remember, how we make it work, maybe what we haven't made work and what we've learned from it. There's a lot of details that go in whether you're taking one trip or a whole bunch. Des, do you want to lead us off with anything you're getting ready? Because we were having a talk before this and we learned that Des doesn't stop her mail.
No, there are people who talk about stopping their mail. I guess I don't get that much mail anymore. I used to. So yeah, when I went to Europe for 2 months last summer, I did not stop my mail. I did get a nice text from my neighbor at one point with a photo saying, "Do you want me to take care of this?" Because mail was pouring out. But it was all that free, the spammy stuff that you don't read anyway. I knew what bills I had and I was taking care of that online. But apparently this is not the way to handle it. Both Naz and Ciaran said they definitely stop their mail. So I guess that is something to think about.
I don't stop my mail either.
Okay.
We have a big mailbox, so we have a thing that can drop down, and so it just fills up in there. Or I get a neighbor to just put stuff in the house for us.
Yeah.
They're going to check on the house anyway.
Yeah, for me, my priority was plants. I have orchids that I have grown for years and they could not go 2 months without water. My boyfriend did gift me a automatic water dropper thing that would go in my big plant in the house, but I had a girlfriend who lives down the street. I called her and said, "I'll buy you a gift in Europe if you will please water my plants." And I did. I on every single orchid, I put how many shot glasses of water they get each week because some are bigger, some are smaller. And I was so thrilled when I came back 2 months later and they were all alive. In fact, they were thriving. Yeah, for me, it's taking care of plants. So I guess think about what matters to you.
I'm thrilled that you water them with shot glasses.
Oh, amen, girl. People said ice cubes a while ago. I'm like, no, the shot glasses are what do the trick. So, yes.
Oh my goodness. So yes, priorities obviously there. Plants not dying while you're gone. Check on that one. And Maureen has a big mailbox that you can dump things into. What else do you get ready or you just go? You just if it doesn't all burn down, we're good.
I guess it depends if you're going for the weekend or if you're going for 2 months. That does take a little extra prep. We've got our Ring camera at the front door. We've got cameras on the property. So that takes care of like wondering who's wandering around the house. We do tell our neighbors if we're out of town so that they are keeping an eye and make sure that there's not people or cars that they're unaware of around our house. But as far as like actually getting ready to leave, I think it's more about the prep of where we're going than what we're leaving behind, at least in our house.
Ciaran, what do you get ready at home?
I've been really fortunate because I've had adult kids living with me. Fortunate or not fortunate, usually fortunate. I have adult kids that live in my house. Oftentimes they are working and they're not coming on trips with me. So at least I know somebody is here at the house. Just bring in the mail and make sure things don't burn down. It's funny you mentioned that because every single time we go on a trip, my husband's big fear is that we're going to pull up and there's going to be like a smoking hole. He's just like, as long as there's not a smoking hole. So we get back from our trip, it's okay. But there's so many things, even little things. We have a weekly gardener that comes and we pay them usually in cash. So making sure that the gardener knows what to do when you're gone and that you've prepaid if you're going to be gone more than a week. Making sure that, the trash cans get brought out or brought back in because sometimes you leave and it's the day before trash day and you don't want that trash to sit till you get home. There's lots of little things like that. But all in all, other than the mail, the trash, the gardener, I'm much more like this. I don't think about things like I just pick up and go and then deal from a distance.
I think it's rare for us that there's no one here at all. But for us, the big thing, if we're not going to be home, is the dogs. Getting a kennel spot can be a little tricky during the summer, especially over more popular weekends. We have an alarm system, but I have minimal alerts set for it. And I have different settings on the video cameras based on what time of year it is, because I don't want to use up all my footage on the neighborhood kids riding their bike in circles in front of my house or my son playing with the dogs in the backyard. I reset a lot of those parameters when I know we're going to be traveling so that I do get an alert if a door opens, because a door shouldn't be opening. And then I know I'm someone who likes to come home to things being fairly clean. I clean before I go on vacation because when I come back, I don't want to be thrown into chaos and feel like I have to start doing stuff again. I know I'm cleaning out the fridge. I'm making sure there aren't going to be any mushy surprises when I come home, that we don't have stuff sitting out. I'm checking the kids' room and having them check to make sure they didn't leave any food or beverage in their room that's going to turn into a science experiment slash cure of something. And I usually do turn water off. If we're going to be gone for a while, I'll flip the water off at some of the sinks and like our washing machine, because I've had too many friends that have had major water damage to their homes. It's my fear in the way the fire is your fear. I just don't want to come home to a soggy house.
Yeah, that's especially important in the winter, but not bad idea in the
Mm.
summer. You're talking about pets. Yeah, that is the main one. Even when I leave my older kids home,
Yeah.
because they tend to not take as good of care of the pets and plants, but they are really good about taking care of other people's pets and
Mhm.
plants. And that is a good solution, is to find out if there is a trusted teenager or college student who would be willing to help out. That's a peace of mind, just too, that somebody's in the house.
Do you guys do anything to make it look like somebody's in the house while you're gone? I have neighbors who've asked me to go into their house and turn the lights on or do stuff, just make it look like the house is occupied.
We're in one of those neighborhoods where everyone knows each other's business. And so that would be useless because people would know we were gone. If something happens to our house, if someone comes in, the neighbors are going to text me before I notice what's going on. And we do have those smart plugs. I could turn on and off lights if I really wanted to, but no.
Yeah, and I live at the top of a very steep driveway. That is one of the benefits, is no one is gonna make the effort to go up this driveway to pick my house to be the one they burglar. I also have the cameras. We get a notification. Sometimes that's more stressful because Rob has a whole garden. We have a lot of wildlife around the back of our house and in the side, and so he's getting alerts at 5 a.m. that a deer is eating all of his tomatoes. Or
I can
yeah,
yell on my camera.
I have one inside I can yell,
My husband did that
no.
last night. I was in the kitchen and he's out of town and he starts talking to me through the camera. What are you doing? Creeping me
Yep.
out. Loading the dishwasher. Exciting.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying all of our cameras because my house is on the market and people don't realize we have signs posted saying that there's video surveillance, but people just they don't realize
They forget
what's
or
the
they
wrong
don't
light
realize
for.
you can hear audio. That is for
Yep.
sure. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I will say the other thing I do, and it's less about prepping for the house, but I prep my car. I definitely get an oil change before a long road trip. I remember before my last road trip, I went and I love this place because it's all women run, women mechanics, women. And the lady comes in, she goes, "What are you doing here? You know, you're not due for another 1,500 miles." And I said, "I just want to, I'm going on a road trip." She's, "Do not waste your money. There's no need," because I do every 3,000 miles religiously change my oil. And she's, "Go away, come back after the road trip." And I was like, "Okay, got it."
There's a lot when you're going international too, like getting an international driver's license,
Mhm.
making sure all of your policies are going to be up to date and cover you for where you're traveling, checking on your phone plan. I know Naz is the queen of all of that organizational stuff. They just dabble.
I don't like surprises. I think that's what it is. I like to be ready. It's the way I am. But the car, like yours talking about getting an oil change, I'll do that sometimes. But getting the car ready, I have everything I could possibly need. I've got my med kit thing that's got every random medication, bandages, gloves, trash bags, extra sunglasses, gum. Also, like I have a corkscrew, I have priorities. I've got a bottle opener. I've got the silicone cups that open and shut because sometimes we'll get bigger drinks for the kids to split. And then they each bring their own cup in the car too that we can refill. So, all of those little things, putting trash bags around the car strategically so I don't spend forever cleaning up after every single leg of the trip. I have, I had a lot of time to practice.
So smart. I remember when the kids were little, I'd pack a pizza tray with magnets so that they could play in the car. I'm out of that mode now, so I don't think about it.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
was
really
way more
smart.
organized when they were little. Now
Yeah,
I
I
think I've
mean,
trained them well enough that they pack what they
Yeah.
need and they don't want to stop. They want to, if we're
Yep.
driving, they just want to go right through. In fact, some of my kids are driving themselves. My son's going to be driving back from Miami on his own, and He's like a professional road tripper now. Those trips when they're little do come in handy when they're older to be well trained. And he's like, ah, it's fine. It's a 20-hour drive. I'll see you in a day.
Yeah.
That's so funny because my son just did a 20-hour drive to come home for Passover, and he drove down from Oregon to Southern California with 2 friends. They planned out their trips. They had coolers and they had stops planned, and they were updating us every hour on where they had reached. And I was like, wow, we trained that kid good. The one thing as Southern California beach clothes mom that has stuck in my car is I always have a small thing of baby powder in the back of my car to get the sand off. Even though I don't have little kids, I have one of those little travel baby powder things to get the sand off my feet because I hate like having sand between my toes.
Everybody else's travel goal is to have sand between
I
their
was
toes.
gonna
Not in the
say,
car,
I
though.
love it. I know I'm happy when when I've got the sand between my toes and the smell of the sunscreen in the car. Oh, I love all of that. So, yeah.
Moved all the way here for that. Now, if I had a snow scraper in my car, that does not make me happy.
We covered things to get ready at the house. We covered some car things. And then we know a lot of people fly during the summer too. And from my experience, flying during the summer is a different animal. Flying during the winter is one way, flying the rest of the year another way. Flying during the summer, there's a lot of weather issues you can come up against. So I know for me, when I'm flying during the summer, a lot of times I don't do it because I assume something's going to go wrong, but really preparing for those unexpected delays. In fact, my son was supposed to fly back yesterday, and his initial flight got delayed so much that he wasn't going to make his connection. And so he's coming home today instead. And that's just the way it is during the summer, I feel like a lot.
Thunderstorms that roll through, and you got lightning, you're not going anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
that and
I don't know about you.
hurricanes.
Summer is weird too because for no reason there seems to be a lot of delays and cancellations that they blame on weather, even though you're like, I don't see any weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is something that is an act of God beyond their control, so they don't have to do reimbursements. And if there's a weather delay, instead of, oh, our crew didn't make it in from this last flight quite yet, flying back from Ohio the last time, they kept saying, oh, there's something with the door. And this was after a door had flown off. So we're like, we definitely want you to fix it. But then the gal sitting next to me, she said, they used the same exact excuse on the way here. Oh, no, you gotta have to come up with more creative excuses. And we know you're lying. Give us a new excuse, a new, more creative one. But I will say, you do have hurricanes. You do have major storms that you do have to contend with. It is important to know if you're going between June and October, have a game plan because you're not thinking like all the natives. I grew up in Florida. Usually it's Memorial Day. It kicks off right away that there's bad weather. It's always the 4th of July. I mean, Labor Day, that's the big one. It's just all the money goes out the window for all the beach people. I hate it for anyone who owns a business on the beach because, again, if I see where I'm booked for Labor Day is if it's the Bahamas, Florida, whatever, if there's a hurricane coming, I am not going. I will not be riding out a hurricane in the Bahamas. I pass. And they lose that money if there's a storm that does hit. Pay attention to the weather no matter where you go.
It can really change how you
Yes.
plan too, because if you're looking at parking, so my son's recent trip, he was going to drive to Manchester and park himself there. And he was sitting there going, it's about the same as an Uber. I ended up being like, you know what? I can drive you on the way there. Let's leave your car here and then you can take an Uber back. But again, because it was weather, you got to kind of plan for, is this actually going to be cheaper if I end up having to fly back a day later or 2 days later? Do I want my car there? Because now he's flying into a different airport. They're sending him back into Boston to get him in. That's fine. I'm going there anyways for something for work, so I can pick him up while I'm there. Convenient for him. But if his car had been in Manchester, we would still have to go get it, and he would have paid for the extra time. So definitely considering things that could go wrong when you're planning and thinking about what will make you the most flexible so that you're not having to go retrieve cars from places or really mess around with a lot of extra fees.
You guys are stressing me out because I'm so California laid back. Earthquakes don't generally stop flights. I better plan to go a few days early because it's on the East Coast. I'm going to Philly and might have issues.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to do the buffer out here.
Roll with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you roll with it. We don't mean to stress anybody out. And we get travel is stressful enough. There are enough things. We're just saying, like Nat said, she's a planner. She doesn't like surprises. So, just be aware and be ready and be flexible. Of course, we say this all
Yeah.
the time.
That's
Parents.
interesting to see a lot of people talking about what to pack now
Yeah.
for summer. We've had this conversation before about what we travel on flights, very different styles all around here.
Yeah.
But when you're packing, are you an overpacker or are you guys more of a practical packer?
I can go either way. I have two travel modes. I have maximalist and minimalist travel modes. So it's very funny. I'm nowhere in the middle. It's either one or the other. Either I've got a giant suitcase and 6 pairs of shoes, or I have a tiny little backpack and 2 pairs of shoes and one I'm wearing. But lately, the idea of minimalist appeals much more to me. Just the idea of not schlepping a lot. I have a friend, Todd. We can link to his stuff, but he does like all of his travels with a Kanken backpack, like the Fjallraven Kanken backpack, and he fits so much in there. He's done some videos on every piece of gear, and that appeals to me so much, having a capsule wardrobe and my capsule toiletry set and just being footloose and fancy free.
A duffel bag that it's like a garment bag that folds
Yes.
up and then you
Yep.
put everything in. That
On
is
my
a
wish
game
list.
changer. You've got your 5 outfits and then you can actually fit your toiletries in it and you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm a minimalist for sure. And then I still am overpacked, even when I think I'm a minimalist. I have this whole 5 4 3 2 1 rule where it's 5 pairs of underwear, 4 blouses, 3 pairs of pants, one bathing suit. Like that's the rule. And then I'll have 2 pairs of shoes, like the one I'm going to wear everywhere comfortably. Flip flops don't count. You need those for the beach. I have a bag that has a zipper bottom that collapses and stretches. So it's small, like a purse it's like a backpack, but it doesn't go over your shoulders. And it has a zipper bottom. It's called the Foldy. I love that bag because I can sneak on a flight and it's small enough to fit under the seat in front of me easily. But if I buy something or whatever, I can unzip that bottom
Yeah.
portion and you can fit a whole like 3 more days of clothes in there.
Yeah.
So.
I don't ever pack anything over a carry-on. Even if I'm in the car, I'm never going with more than one suitcase and maybe a little backpack. It's a road trip and I'm going to bring something in and out. But carry-on is the max. And then I've got a Cotopaxi backpack carry-on thing that I got when we were traveling to Sri Lanka because they recommended not having rolled luggage in general for some of the destinations that we had on our list for the next couple of years. And it almost is like suitcasey size. It's pretty big, but it folds open like a suitcase. And then each side has compartments and zippers in it. So it opens like luggage, but it looks like a backpack and it has different areas to put extra stuff in. And I love that thing. When I go to New York now, I almost always bring that because I don't want to deal with the turnstiles on the subway system with a roller bag. And I don't want to be dragging a roller bag around. This just looks like a very large backpack. I usually leave a little bit of space so I can shove my big purse in there too and only carry one thing. But no, I am team minimalist. I want to have options, but I feel like a lot of my stuff goes together and my clothes are not bulky. It works out that I can bring a couple extra options. There's always a couple things I don't wear, but I don't like to ride the line where I'm like, what do I need to rewear? I want to be right on the cusp of still having clean clothes.
Easier in the summer because then you have nice linen pants that roll up to be nothing and shorts and it's not the big bulky. I have a sweater I
Sunglasses,
love in
Mm.
winter, but that sweater takes half the suitcase. If I don't wear it on the flight, it's not coming. It's just I will
Yep.
say though, having a jacket is great for hiding things. If I have extra, I have big pockets on the inside of the coat and I can fit 2 packing cubes in the inside pockets of my jacket. And I'm like, I have a whole nother suitcase right on me.
We all have that one like garment that we discovered like at Target on sale or something. I have a very lightweight nylon, like windbreaker type jacket. And it like folds up to be like this big. But yes, it has massive pockets on the side, plus the pockets here and here, plus
Yes.
one on the sleeve. I'm like, my phone is here. I've got packing cubes in each pocket. I've
Amen.
got like all kinds of stuff here.
Just check the bag.
See, I will not check a
No.
bag.
I know. I always
Often.
bring stuff in my carry-on if my bag doesn't make it, yada yada. But if I get 2 free bags, I'm gonna pack them. I'm gonna take them. If I'm going in the car, more stuff the better. If we're going into a hotel or something on the way, then I'll pack a bag so I don't bring in my big suitcase. But If I can be a minimalist, but if I don't have to, I'm not going to. I'm going to pack it. I'm going to bring it. I like options. I don't want to rewear things. I do try and bring a comfortable pair of shoes, a pair of heels that I can wear with whatever I've got. Actually, my dog just chewed my favorite pair of wedge sandals. So she is literally in the doghouse now. And I'm on the
What
search for now my summer sandals because you need a pair. You need a pair of go with everything that are neutral but cute. And you can, so
I
I
have an Amazon link for you. I'll send it to you. I have
okay,
like
perfect.
You
Just
guys
on this
have
episode.
reminded me now because I'm thinking about the other getting ready for summer things. So a couple more things. One is medication. If you're going to be traveling and you're on medications, to put in advance for refills, and you might even have to go to your doctor and explain that you're going on vacation to get something refilled ahead of time because it could be a giant pain to do it somewhere else. Same thing with medications and summer travel. Read if you've been taking it but maybe haven't taken it over the summer before, read everything, because a lot of them with extra sun exposure, they don't do good things. It's not going to be a pleasant vacation if you don't read all the things that you can't do with the medication that you haven't been paying attention to begin with. For parents who are traveling, I know a lot of people go to see their parents during the summer, their families, if they don't live nearby. And if you are not driving and you're flying and your kids are maybe at the age where they need car seats, but on the cusp, or it might be a pain, or you might not need it on the flight. I know that I used to sometimes get my parents' car seats. I would order them from Target. They would pick them up and put them in and then meet us at the airport with the car seats in, because I don't really love bringing them on the plane, especially if they're not going to be in the seat, because I don't want them banging around. And then we would either leave them at my parents' at the end of the trip for the next time so that they had them, or repacked them in one of the boxes once with the foam again and then checked them that way. And car seats are free to check on, I think, almost every airline. I haven't been charged for one yet, but it's just, I don't like tossing them around or putting them in that bag and handing
There's
it to
tons
them.
of those rental
Yeah.
companies too now that you
Yeah.
can just get what you need and they'll actually
Yep.
meet you with everything or drop it off at your parents' house.
Yeah.
Or we've done that several times when they were little and that worked out really well. And you get to try something new too.
Yep.
Like you get to try a new car seat or a new stroller or a new playpen or whatever it may have. On your medication thing, like I keep rubbing my nose. My allergies are
Mm.
terrible right now. Everything is blooming. And sometimes like you get used to where you live. But when you go somewhere
Mhm.
else, whatever else is blooming or in the air can really bother you and can really affect your trip. So add that allergy medication into your medicine ditty bag of fun
Yep.
and make sure that
for
I never
those
heard
of
that term
us.
before. Have you heard that term before? Ditty bag?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't. It's like your catch-all for when you travels, and I have one. And I actually think it would be hilarious that we should do an episode where we all just bring our ditty bag and see what you carry with you. Because there's some interesting things and some different things that I would never have thought of, and other things where I was like, seriously, you carry that
Oh
all
my God, I'm
around the
going to be
world with
40
you?
minutes of the episode. It's going to be amazing.
Your old carry-on bag can't be your ditty bag.
Oh, no, I'm
I
very
was also
compact.
looking for those of us with food allergies and
Mm,
food issues. That is one area where I may pack light and I can be minimalist, but wherever I go, I'm bringing food because I have so many issues and allergies, and I've been trapped at airports and had
mhm,
delays in 14 hours without eating is a long
mhm,
time.
Does not make a happy traveler. No, I do the same, Sharon. Having no gluten, no dairy, and very little nuts. There's really limited choices, usually at the airport. So I'm with you on that. And the snacks are ridiculously expensive now. A little bag is $10
yep.
for anything from candy to
Popcorn.
chips to popcorn, everything.
And
Yeah.
even with the delays and everything and timing, places shut down. They don't stay open the entire
Mhm.
time that things are delayed, and they can be short-staffed and short-handed. In fact, one of the biggest issues during the beginning of the summer is the J1 visa kids go back home at the end of the school year, and so there is a hiring gap in that area where they're short-staffed already. I bring snacks no matter what. I know Des travels with granola bars. We've covered that before, so
Protein bars. Yes.
okay.
You will always
Protein
find me with
bars.
a protein bar in my purse.
Do you have any last what is your summer travel advice if you were going to give someone? It can be anything.
Do it. A lot of people, you just think you're going to get to it, and then the summer flies by and you really didn't enjoy it. We only get so many summers, right? Even if it's just a staycation, enjoy it. Do something
Mm,
local. If you can make it somewhere new and fabulous, even better, but take time and enjoy the summer.
What she said.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. I'm struggling with it at the moment, but we're going to do our best.
We are too. We're still trying to pick it and narrow it down and figure out everyone's schedule. I'm not saying it's easy. It's actually probably the hardest thing to do, especially as your kids get older and they work. Not that they don't want to spend time with you, but there's just not enough summer to go around. Even right now, we're looking for a 4-day window that all 6 of us can actually go and do something together.
That's a great one for sure. Just do it. I personally am a not crowd fan in general. So my summer vacation stuff is always trying to figure out what I can do to avoid people. So toll pass, so I don't have to wait in the line to pay the toll. You can bring it with you when you travel. Making sure I know how to get passes or things ahead of time, so I'm not waiting. Figuring out when things are quiet and trying to go during those times for day trips. We will be back next week with another topic. Until then, happy travels.
This has been another episode of Time to Talk Travel, brought to you by #travels.com. You can keep in touch with us between episodes by checking out our site, joining our newsletter, or connecting with us on social. We've always got the information you need in our episode notes. Until next time, happy travels, and thanks for being a part of our trip.